is my flex.
What up, y'all?
I'm trying to figure out how to make my head bigger.
It's loud.
There we go. Oh. Go ahead.
Let me see if I can share this. What's up, y'all?
Hold on. My head's so big you can't get both of our. There we go. So you can't get both of our heads in.
So it was a lot of questions from the last time we went live. So she back in town. So we figured we'd just go live, try to help y'all answer some more of y'all questions. But so we just gonna start at the beginning. So in the beginning, like it's credit. Like what is credit for the people that's 18 years old, 21 years old that never had credit, don't know what credit is? What is credit? So um, can you go over credit for them, like from the
Yeah,
beginning of
yep.
it?
All right, so I'm gonna go over it this time in a more practical um, standpoint. Like if you finna go out there, brand new, just turned 18, 19, 20, 21, and want to establish your credit. But this might apply to the older folks as well. So, starting off, credit, that's gonna be your risk management score, which there's three different companies. A lot of people will call them credit bureaus, but they're not actually bureaus because they're not a part or affiliated with any government entity. Like um, they're not a part of the feds. So they're credit agencies, which is Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. So each three company will create what's called the risk management score, which is your credit score. So your credit profile, credit score is two different things. Now, a lot of times you guys talk a lot about credit score, my credit score, my credit score. But I want you to understand that your credit profile is much more important than your credit score. Like what's actually on your credit. Because there's a lot of reasons why your score can be low. So, just briefly going over credit scores range from 300 to 850. And, depending on what's on your credit profile, makes up your actual credit score in that score range. 300 being very, very poor, 850 being the best that's out there.
All right. So that what do it take to get to that 850? Like what do your profile? You said your credit profile. What do that need to look like? And if a mine is like 500, like what would cause it to be 500, three
Um,
hundred?
so, there's a lot of reasons why your credit score could be low in a 500. A lot of times, especially when you're young and you're just starting out, more than likely it's just simply you don't have any credit. Like you haven't actually established a credit profile. You just you're a human, so of course you're existing, and we all get assigned a credit profile at the age of 18. But you can build your credit before 18. So for those parents with young kids that are 15, 16, you can start building their credit profiles now. But what makes up your credit score is 35%, which is payment history, 30%, which is amount owed. And that you'll hear that like in the lending world, that's DTI, debt to income ratio. I know Donald's familiar with that, especially being in the real estate industry. That's all they talk about is DTI. 15% being lent to credit history. So how long have you had an open account? So like he said, how will your score be low, or what can you do with a low score? Like 500 with no history, that's the reason why you got a 500 score if you have no history. What makes up a good credit profile, you have to at least have 2 years of credit history in order for that to be like a strong profile. But for it to be considered a credit history, you need at least 6 months of active accounts reporting on your credit report. And then there's 10% new credit, so that's new accounts, whether that be like an installment loan, which an installment loan is like a car payment, personal loan, revolving line of credit like credit card, a mortgage. Um, those are all like credit mix, and then 10% is inquiries. So that's if you have already applied for some credit and inquired to establish credit, which I always advise against getting inquiries unless you know there's a good chance of you getting approval. And we'll go into that in some future questions. But how can you get a strong credit profile? Having a mix of those five things. Um, excuse me, y'all. So if you don't have any credit history and you just starting out, the best way to go about it is to try to piggy bank or piggyback, not piggy bank, piggyback. I'm thinking about money over here. So piggyback off of somebody's credit, like if you had a family member, aunt, uncle, cousin, mother, brother, sister, um, if you could ask them to add you as an authorized user on their credit cards for you to be able to access their credit. So your score will go up as a result of them paying their credit card payments on time. But when you're doing that, just know that whoever you use have to be responsible, because if they're not and they spend negligently or they get delinquents or don't pay on time, it will affect your credit. So it has to be somebody you trust, and you know that is responsible with their credit. Um, I feel like I'm saying a lot.
Okay. So I know me personally, like you said, DTI is very important whenever you're dealing with real estate. So debt to income ratio, if you make $1,000 a month, but you owe $500 a month, that means you at a 50%. So that's very important. And then I wanted to say something about you know, how I built mine, how my credit profile looked. So I went when I first got out of prison. I went into Dillard's. I went into J.C. Penney's. I went into the credit union, and I got credit cards for all of these places. That helped me start establishing some credit. So I did that, and then I also um, I waited a couple months, and then I went and got a car loan. I already had the car, but I basically took the title into a bank and was like, "Can I get a loan for this?" So now I have car history, I have credit card history, got a personal loan, and then I started moving to the mortgages and stuff. So that's how my credit profile was built out. So that's very important to know. Just you need all of those different things on your credit, and like the inquiry part, that's very important because I went into almost every bank trying to get some money. I had 15 inquiries at one point, just asking people for money. So that's not good. Just imagine you going around just asking, "Hey, can I borrow 500? Can I borrow 500?" People gonna start looking at you like, "Hold up, man!" Like, so
What's
that's
wrong with you? Why you asking everybody for some money?
yeah, that's very important. So that's how I build mine out. But me personally, only thing I want to say to the people that don't understand credit, that don't have credit, is to be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Being responsible is the biggest thing you could do. If you got credit, if you know that you like to go buy Jordans, if you know that you like to go hang out and kick it, don't take your credit card. Don't even use your credit card if you're not responsible with
Right.
it, or you're gonna blow your credit before you even build it up. So
Absolutely. And just to elaborate, like on Donald was saying on how he built his credit. Now, I took a different approach when, honestly, when I first turned 18, I had a really good credit score from student loans because I went to school right after high school. But at that time, I didn't know anything about credit. I wasn't educated. And it wasn't until I had a few kids later and started to realize how important it was. And at that point I ruined it by putting stuff in my name for people. So I just want to, make sure you guys understand. Do not allow others to utilize your name or putting bills or cars or phones or whatever in your name for someone else. If they can't get it in their name, is a reason for that. So don't um, fail before you even get started. That's pretty much what I did. Just not knowing better, letting my people that I knew use my name, and then also making sure there's other ways to build your credit. Like you can go to your bank, different banks that offer secure loans. I didn't do the store cards because I was more so wanting things that I could use for emergencies. So I went all secure credit card route. I had got a secure credit card with Capital One where I put $500 down and that was my limit, and I just kept paying it. And as I kept paying it on time, they kept raising my limit, which is actually to this day one of my favorite cards, even though it's not a secure card anymore. Because they gave me back my money after 6 months of paying on time, and then Discovery offers a secure credit card. A lot of people talk about Navy Federal. Navy Federal offers a secure credit card as well as a secure loan that they call the pledge loan. So, call your financial institutions and ask if they have any type of secure credit programs. Some don't offer. For example, I know Wells Fargo used to have it, but they no longer have that. And just going into inquiries, like Donna was saying, trying to create that strong profile. You don't want to do more than 2 inquiries a year and 4 inquiries in 2 years. Inquiries stay on your credit report for 2 years. Candace, I do see your question, and I just want to be sure to educate you. When I talked about the scores being lower in the South, don't take that out of context as in you can go get money with a lower score. It's possible to get money with a lower score. However, repair your credit. Invest in yourself. So if your score is low, try to come up with an action plan on how you can improve your credit. Utilize these steps that we're telling you, the secure cards, disputing things off your credit, getting some of those inaccuracies off, paying down some of that debt, and we'll go over that here in a little bit to improve your credit score. But I don't want any of this content to be taken out of context as in a scapegoat for bad credit. We're not using business funding to replace our bad personal credit. If you are in business and you have a poor credit score, work on both at the same time. It's very well possible to do that. I've done that. I'm sure Donald probably did the same thing, working on his personal credit as well as his business credit at the same time. But don't take it out of context. We're not teaching you how to prosper with a poor credit score because it's impossible. Just know that you cannot prosper. Your credit score is the foundation to wealth. So I just wanted to make sure I clarify that.
So what? How do they find out what? If for a person that don't know, how do they find out what their credit score is and what to look for?
So you can get your free credit report for free on annualfreecreditreport.com once a week, but that's not going to have a score on there. But if you just want to know what's on your report and what accounts you have on there, then that's where you want to go. As far as your score, the cheapest place to get it, honestly, is Free Score Now, Smart Credit, um, what is it? Credit ID or Identity?
IQ,
IQ, yeah.
IQ identity.
Yeah, but also know that those scores are all Vantage scores, which is not the score that people utilize for lending. If you want your lender score, what a lender's going to use, you need to go to MyFICO, but that is going to be the most expensive subscription. But just a free gem for you. If you use the free trial, and when your trial get ready to expire, just give them a call and say you want to cancel because it's too expensive, and they're going to offer you a discount to keep the subscription.
Okay, that's what's up. All right, so now we know what will help us build our credit. We know where to find our credit score. Um, for the responsible people like that's ready, what about business funding? Like what do we do now? Like we got a good credit, we everything good. What is business funding and what do we do now that we got the credit?
I would say first come up with an action plan. So your business needs a business plan and what you're gonna use this credit for. Don't just go out there and get the money just because you can. That's how people get in debt. They get in over your head. Um, it doesn't matter how much money you have if you don't have good money management skills. I'm gonna say that again. Don't matter how much money you have, how much money you make if you don't have good money management skills. So when you get this money, you need to know how are you gonna use this money, one, to generate more profit, and two, how to get more assets. Because you can get money without using credit. You know what I mean? But we teach you the credit route. So I would say once you get your credit score up, knowing which institutions offer what products. For example, I know Chase is a very good bank in the business world. They offer three different business credit cards. They do SBA loans. They have business lines of credit, U.S. Bank, PNC Bank, Navy Federal. But you also have to know, I always preach this, don't just be so excited about those approvals because we get approved, especially for a few thousand, 10, 15, 20,000. We be like, yes, I'm in there. I made it. I've arrived. Thank you, God. Know the terms. Because do you even want that money? Like, is the term so outstanding and so ridiculous that it's just you just getting yourself in a bad situation, but you got approved, but your interest rate is 40%. Like, make sure that you know and you understand the terms. You know how long you have to pay it back. You know what the interest rate is, um, and just plan accordingly.
Okay.
Don't go and get stuff that you can't pay back.
All right. So basically, whenever we build our credit, we need a credit. We need a business plan. We need to structure our LLC right, and then we
Absolutely.
just go in the bank and ask for money, or when do we ask for it? Like,
Um, I gotta tap in on that structure because I can't have a conversation about business funding without talking about structure.
all right,
I would break down what that structure is. So, as a business, you either gonna be a sole proprietor, which is not technically a business entity. However, it does give you a ability to get EIN and utilize your EIN instead of your social. I always advise to do that because of the identity theft rate nowadays, um, especially if you have people working underneath you or you work with vendors. Instead of giving them your social, you're going to give them your EIN. But you can completely just operate utilizing your name. You don't have to register an LLC. You're either going to be an LLC or a corporation. And then an LLC can be either taxed as an S corp or a C corp. I won't go into detail on that because that's a big topic. Um, but once you get that LLC, making sure your name matches your EIN letter. I've heard a lot of myths and I've seen a lot of paperwork where it has not matched. And people are like, well, what about Donald Trump with Trump Towers, Trump Hotels, Trump Enterprises? Those are all separate entities just using the name Trump. Trump has copyrighted his name Trump. And that just means nobody else can use the name Trump. But he can have as many different versions of a LLC or a corporation or whatever entity he chooses with the name Trump. But they are all separate entities. So you need that LLC certificate of organization paperwork, you need that EIN letter, you need an operations agreement, and you need a business bank account. And if you don't have those four things, you don't have a business. That goes to structure. And then what was your second question? Because I just went all the way
okay.
off
But you could
topic.
you do that here at your organization. You help us with all of that, right?
I do. That's all in one financial consultant. I
Okay.
absolutely will help you register your entity and I will educate you because we ain't following TikTok trends. We're doing real world things.
Okay.
I love TikTok, but sometimes we get wrong info on TikTok.
You can't learn in 30 seconds in a 30-second clip. But the next thing was whenever I do get all of this, then what? I walk in the bank and what do I say to the teller?
Most of in business credit world, a lot of your stuff is going to be done online. So you want
Mm-hmm.
to apply online and just knowing what your product is. Whether you want a fixed loan, revolving line of credit, which is the same thing as a business line of credit, a business credit card, and knowing what your credit score has to be to get approved for those type of items that you're asking for.
Okay.
And then if you're having a lower credit score, again, like I said, looking at the non-traditional banks or looking at banks that offer SBA funding or that do micro lending.
All right. So basically, like that just broke everything down. Like we know where to find our score. We know how to fix it if it's wrong. We know how to go into how to build where to go to get the business plan, and we know what to say when we walk into this bank. So hopefully, all of these lives that we've been doing, just help y'all, hold y'all hand, and just execute to the finish line. So that's what we here for. If y'all got any questions, just inbox either one of us. I know a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, but she's a professional. She has a license to do this, and I don't. So just hit
Mm-hmm.
her up, and she can help you with whatever you need. So
Absolutely. I can help you with your business structure, your credit restoration, credit education, all of it. Um, I see your comment there, Candace. You're welcome. Yeah, stay on that path and just, remember it takes time. Like, don't expect everything to happen overnight. Get off the social media, hype. Everybody ain't just doing this overnight. It's a process. Allow yourself some grace and just come up with a plan and execute it.
Yeah, one step at a time.
Yeah, in 6 months you can definitely be on your way with a better credit score and achieving your goals that you set for yourself financially.
Okay. Well, thank you for helping us.
All right, bye y'all.